Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Evermore NUFC channel. Following I guess a comfortable 2-0 win in the end at St James's Park this afternoon over Crystal Palace. A peculiar game, I think. If I go particularly off what happened for the first 60 minutes, but 3 points, a 2-0 win, a clean sheet. Again, probably a good performance at home and momentum, as I've called this, MAGPIE momentum. I think the commentator used that at the end of the game. I'd already got that penciled in. Back-to-back wins and movement up the Premier League. We'll get stuck into the game in a second and into your comments too. Just before that, if you are new to the channel, please drop a like and a sub onto the channel if you haven't already. Stumbled over that a little bit there. We are over the 12,300 mark now. We are on the way to 12,400, I guess, and onwards to 13,000, which is just amazing. Thank you again to everybody who's taken the time to like, subscribe, comment, interact with us throughout our time doing this. So again, thank you very much. We'll get stuck into the game and the lineups, and there wasn't too much to change for Newcastle. It was the one change with Jacob Murphy coming in for Harvey Barnes for this game on the right hand side. But we did see the return of Kieran Trippier, Tino Livramento and Sven Botman back into the squad following their injuries. For Palace, I guess the big news for them was that Brennan Johnson was into the starting lineup to start with, following his £35 million move from Spurs. And then, yeah, I think I guess going into the game, Palace had no win in 6, I think it is, in all competitions. They only got 1 point in the Premier League from their last 4. So really, Newcastle looking at this game going, really need to get back-to-back wins here. It really has to be a good performance. And it almost, in the first 2 minutes, was an exceptional start. A little bit like Burnley a few days ago. In the second minute, it could be 1-0. A little interplay in midfield between Bruno Tonali and Joe Linton to put Gordon away was really, really good. He cut the ball back to Thiaw, but his shot was straight at Dean Henderson, who probably kept Palace in the game. Really, I think when you look at some of the saves that he made, particularly later on. But I think the first half, in particular, I think I guess the story of the first half is 2 disallowed goals. The offside for Wissa. I mean, the ball through and Bruno did this a couple of times with the ball through to Johan Wissa. He put a beautiful ball through to him, and Wissa is, I mean, it's not far. And if FIFA do change the offside rule, he would have been clearing away. But Bruno puts the ball through. Wissa is away, and he unselfishly puts the ball back across for Gordon. It's a little bit overhit, and Gordon manages to sort his feet out this time and tucks the ball in, but it is given offside. That comes on the back, actually, of a couple of minutes before. A really good save again from Henderson from a Fabian Schär header. When the ball was sort of, I think, tucked back in from Lewis Hall after Dean Henderson's, I guess, attempted punch is a bit weak. And the game sort of settled down from that. Palace had the early exchanges, the first sort of 10 minutes, apart from that early chance. Newcastle then came into it. So from about sort of 15 minutes onwards, it was really all Newcastle. If you look at the sort of map for the game, it's pretty much all Newcastle. They had the vast majority of possession, but I guess a real lack of clear-cut chances outside of the 2 offside goals. Lewis Hall had a 20-yard shot that was straight at Henderson, but outside of that, again, it was a busy performance. There was a lack of, I guess, outside of Bruno's few passes, there was a lack of quality, a lack of, I think, composure on the ball in that first half, and that carried over into the second half as well. But I mean, the first half, as it carried on, Newcastle ended up with 61% possession that first half, but only 3 shots, all 3 on target. Whereas Palace had 7 shots and none on target. They'd end the game with only 1 shot on target. Newcastle did really well to defend them. I thought Malick, Thiaw,
defended Mateta really well. So did Fabian Schär today. I thought they were excellent. The tail of that first half is really those offside goals, and then right at the end is the really big chance for Palace, and it's Will Hughes who gets played into the area, and he's got to score in that point. If that's obviously a Newcastle player, you're absolutely screaming at them to score. We'll come to a big chance at the end of the game that's missed in a second. I've already seen a couple of comments on this. But Will Hughes is played in, he toe pokes the ball wide, and I think credit probably to Fabian Schär. I think Mickey in the commentary gave him credit for getting across and really putting Hughes off at that point. So that moves into the second half, and the other thing from the first half, and what really I guess riled me up for an awful lot of that first 45 minutes, was just the time wasting. At every opportunity, and I guess it was a game plan from Palace, but every single free kick, every throw in, every goal kick, the amount of time that the Palace players took on those was unbelievable. And it didn't look like there was anything said to any of the players. And then early in the second half, finally, John Brooks, the referee, acts on the time waste. And I think it's Tyreek Mitchell that wanders away from a free kick after already spending about 30 or 40 seconds standing over it, walks away. He's booked for delaying the free kick. And that kind of put the end to that, I guess. That they didn't really do it again after that. And the fact that he allowed them to get away with it for so long was baffling. But that first, I guess, 15, 20 minutes of the second half, again, there was a lack of quality, a lack of composure in that. And it took until it was Lewis Hall and Anthony Gordon, ironically, just before Anthony Gordon was substituted down the left-hand side. Great little bit of play. Hall overlaps, plays the ball into Gordon. He overlaps. Gordon plays the ball through it, and Lewis Hall's cross is just over Joe Linton, who misses the header, and it falls to Wiss, who just can't take it under control, and the chance goes away. Probably about 30 seconds later, Anthony Gordon is booked for the most ridiculous reason. I've no idea how on earth John Brooks sees that as a yellow card, because he comes. Yes, he slides in from distance, but he doesn't take the player. He cleanly takes the ball away from it, and he's booked. It's just a ridiculous yellow card. I've absolutely no idea what he was looking at. And then the substitutions, I guess we call it Eddie time, don't we? 63 minutes, the triple substitution this time. And I thought it was, I guess at first, I sort of found it a little bit odd that Hall coming off for Tino. I guess Hall probably a little bit of rest. Tino coming in to get some minutes under his belt at that point as well, and give some fresh legs. Ramsey on for Tonali, who again had looked busy, if not really controlling in the midfield. He wasn't bad. He wasn't particularly brilliant either. He just ticked over. And Harvey Barnes came in for Gordon and pretty much made an instant impact to it. But within a couple of moments, it's actually Palace that gets the opportunity. And Adam Wharton wins a 50-50 ball with Tino, and I think the many will be screaming at Tino for not going into that with more. With a bit more force, but he gets the ball to Johnson, whose shot is saved really well by Nick Pope, and that was their only shot on target for the entire game. And in the end, it was a really comfortable save for Nick Pope. The other end, Bruno hits the bar from another corner. It's a brilliantly whipped corner in. It hits the top of the bar and goes away. And then within a couple of minutes, the first goal comes, 70th minute. There's a free kick on the edge of the box. I think it was Bruno that won the free kick initially, but Murphy's free kick is really poor and it's headed away. But Harvey Barnes picks that ball up and just drops one into the back post. And Lewis Miley, who has been excellent today, and I'll come to Miley a little bit more, just manages to keep the ball alive at the back post. It bounces down into Bruno, who's able to just nod home from about a yard and a half out. And that's it, 1-0. I think that's Bruno's fourth Premier League goal in his last 7 games. He's on a really, really good streak. I thought he was excellent again today. Finding pockets in between the lines as well. He was able to move about a little bit more, particularly second half when the game opened up as well. I think it's about 5 or 6 minutes later, Dean Henderson has a brilliant save from a Harvey Barnes header. There's a little ball back to Fabian Schär, who just clips a lovely ball into the box, and Barnes gets there first and heads down. It's a really, really good save. As the ball comes out, it looks for all the world it's going to drop to Johan Visser, but it's just past him and hits the defender and goes out from a corner. And from that corner, Newcastle made it 2-0. It's another brilliantly whipped in corner from Bruno right into the goalkeeper, who it gets something on it. It bounces down, bounces off a couple of players, hits a Palace player straight to Malick Thiaw, who pokes it home for 2-0. And that was the game done. But Newcastle, again, I think what we've not seen in other games is getting to that point and continuing to press, continuing to put the opposition under pressure. And they did that, and really probably should have scored another couple of goals. Barnes and Tino down the left-hand side were particularly good. I thought they really opened up and should have created another couple of opportunities. Bruno, sort of the opposite side. I was disappointed in Murphy, if I'm honest, in most of what he did. He put a couple of crosses in, but his passing was a bit wayward. But that the last chance of the game, really, and the most unbelievable one, and it falls to Joe Willock, and Barnes is put through, absolutely clear. His shot across the goalkeeper is saved by Henderson's feet, and the ball bounces to Joe Willock. And you think, for all the world, I think that most of the stadium was celebrating already, and he puts the ball wide, unbelievably puts the ball wide. I've no idea how he manages to miss the target. Henderson's coming across, but I just don't understand how he doesn't hit the target at all. I mean, I think it's one of those moments when you want the ground to open up and swallow you, because it's just an unbelievable miss. But in the end, it doesn't matter. A 2-0 win. Newcastle, like I say, up to ninth, and a little bit of momentum. I guess this is what we've wanted to see from them. We've wanted to see back-to-back, maybe it's not performances, but back-to-back results and move on up the league. It doesn't take an awful lot. We've seen teams that are able to just to pick from the bottom end and just move themselves up. And if Newcastle can put a run together with all these home games as well that are coming up, and get a little bit of momentum going across the competitions and really keep that in the Premier League too, then look, there's been question marks over whether Newcastle can make European competition, particularly the Champions League. I'm not entirely sure on that, given the teams ahead of them. But if they put a run together, if players like Wisser and can keep their form, and particularly with the likes of Barnes coming on, if he gets the opportunity to start more as well, if Gordon can catch a little bit of form, it just looks. I always felt sorry for him for the disallowed goal, because it would have been his first open play goal since last January, but it's taken away, rightly so. But I did feel a little bit for him at that. But if those players can catch some form and really put in some performances over the next few weeks, and Newcastle have the opportunity to really put themselves back into that European fight with no trouble. But it's consistency, and that's been the thing that's lacking. Statistics wise today, I mean, you can see it's pretty one-sided in terms of possession. Newcastle bossed the game really in terms of that second half. It was really end-to-end for that first 15 minutes. There was a real lack of quality, and it wasn't until I think Newcastle really kind of just went, let's just calm it, let's do things right, let's play basics right, that they took control of the game. They created better chances at that point, and the game went away from Palace, and they're now without a win in the Premier League, I think in 5. So, it's really put the pressure on them and makes it look a lot nicer for Newcastle as well. I think if we're looking at the table just at the moment, it's, like I say, Newcastle up to 9th, only a couple of points behind Manchester United in 5th. Obviously, Chelsea still have to play, but they're playing City this afternoon. The points for the Liverpool game, or as they were as when I started, it was 1-1 at that point. I think, I don't know what the score is at the moment. Somebody can update me in the comments if they want to. I'm not particularly bothered by that, but that's where it stands for Newcastle at the moment. So yeah, well, getting to some of your comments. So I know I started a couple, and the first one from George was, and what on earth has gone on with this? The comments aren't as I normally want them. That's better. They're looking a lot better for me there. So Malick, comfortably the best player on that pitch. Yeah, I kind of agree. I think if we're looking at man of the match options, and definitely drop those in the comments for me as well. I was in one of the group chats that I'm in for, and the talk was about Joe Linton. I thought Joe Linton was excellent today. He really put himself about. I thought he was much better on the ball. He looked much more calm today. He didn't really get into any sort of big battles or anything. It wasn't really one of those performances, but he just looked a little bit more assured, and he looked much more comfortable with the ball at his feet. He moved the ball more quickly than I think we possibly see at times. But he was allowed a little bit more space as well. I think Palace didn't particularly close him that quickly. But Miley was just unreal. The start at the end of the game, it's 100% passing after 94 minutes or whatever it was. For a right back, is unbelievable. I just think he's getting better and better, and take that form into midfield as well at some point once the fullbacks are back and fit. I think it's just. I mean, I've seen a comment in there about Miley being Newcastle's Gerrard, and it's hard to really disagree with that. I think he's got to add a few more things to his game. He's picked up some goals recently, but a few more of those would probably go amiss. A little bit more for shooting from distance when he gets the chance. But he's shown his versatility. He's shown his ability to move the ball around. He's not rattled by anybody. It doesn't matter who the player is. I just thought he was excellent. Definitely my man of the match today as well. Like I say, drop your comments in too. Kev's in the comments. Good afternoon, mate. Hello all, back-to-back wins and up to ninth. Yeah, exactly right. Exactly that. Run of consistency now, and Newcastle can get themselves up there. Young Rexy, good win and clean sheet. Miley is an absolute beast of play, and he's still a bet. He is. It's frightening how good he is for being so young as well. And just he needs the. We said this a long time ago, didn't we? When there's the question marks, he needs game time. When he was coming on for 5, 10, 15 minutes, he just wasn't getting involved in the game. He wouldn't give the ball away, but he needs game time. He needs to have the time on the field to show what he's been. He's just been so good, and he's been excellent right back. I agree with Chris. I don't think he should be converted into a right back. I think he is a central midfielder at heart, and that's where his future lies. But he's been so good, and so I just think his future in midfield for Newcastle that's built around him. Vincent in the chat, is it me or does Barnes simply offer more than Gordon? Sure, Gordon's link up play with Wissa was promising the first over. Barnes came out, he offers so much more. I agree. I think there's a real difference between what you get from Gordon and what you get from Barnes and his end product. I think at the end of the day, and Gordon, yes, he started the game well. He's done that a few times recently where he starts really, really well, and he just seems to go off the boil, doesn't get involved an awful lot. I thought he's really unlucky to get booked with his challenge. But that was really the only moment, I guess, from that second half I can kind of remember. He starts so well, and today it was different. It wasn't particularly running at players that he did the other night, where I thought that's what you want to see from Anthony Gordon. Use that pace, get in at players, running at them, commit them, get in behind like he did in the first half today. There's just not enough of that from him. There's certainly not enough end product. He doesn't create enough chances for his forwards, and he doesn't take them himself. He doesn't get into those positions regularly enough to be able to take those chances himself. He did early on today. He took that chance really well. It was unlucky that it was given offside. But those are the kind of positions we want to see him in. We want to see him in the area, getting on the end of things when they're coming. So yeah, Barnes definitely for me gives you much more end product, and I think he's really unlucky to be out of the starting lineup today. I really do. I don't think Murphy did particularly well. I don't think he was awful. I don't think he was the worst player on the pitch by a mile. Obviously, Palace players will fit that category today, but he was lacking. His passing in the first half was particularly poor. He did give the ball away a couple of times, really needlessly. He got caught offside twice in the first half, and he was looking along the line. I don't understand as a wide player how you can be looking across the defensive line and still be caught offside and not make that movement to get back into position. It was, I think, really just lethargic sort of play from him. He really didn't show any urgency to get himself back on the right side, but he does create opportunities, and that is the real thing for him. That if you give him the ball, he will put a good ball into the box. But I think at some point there's going to be one of those. Obviously, Elanga, when he comes back, he's got to get some form into him. But at the moment, the two wide players are really realistic. You have to be playing it, Gordon and Barnes, and whatever way you play them, whether on whoever's on the right, whoever's on the left. Those are the two, I guess, at the moment you have to start with. But yeah, I think definitely for me to go back to that point, Barnes is far more productive. Chris Thompson, who's been a member for 4 months, thank you very much, mate. Big Joe and Tonali are back. Yeah, I thought Big Joe was excellent today. He was the dominant one in midfield. He really put Wharton and Hughes in their place a little bit, but he just moved around the pitch really, really well. I thought it's sort of back to where he was, a couple of years ago, where he put in those sort of performances, he put in those shifts. He didn't look leggy or anything like that today. He just put in a really, really good performance. Tonali, like I said, I wasn't overly impressed by Tonali today. He didn't do anything wrong. He just didn't control the game like I possibly would have hoped for him to do. But again, that midfield trio worked really well for him today. I think the game suited them. Definitely. So yeah. But again, thank you for being a member. And I got Pink Acid Boots on. That's a mad username, especially trying to read that when it's all linked together. But much better today. Some hard work midfield. Absolutely agree with that. Cannot disagree with that at all. I thought the midfield was excellent as an overall. So we'll get into some more of the comments. Those are the ones I kind of picked up originally. I'm going to try and just rattle through some more of these. So apologies. I'm just trying to read these through. Usually when Chris does, I'm in the background starring some of these comments, so it's more difficult when it's just one of you. Where are we? Thank God we won. Looked a bit more convincing, better performance. Yeah, absolutely, Keith. Definitely agree with that. Anonymous, Miley was man of the match. What a talent he is, buzzing for the kid. He just gets better and better, doesn't he? Like he's taken on that team now, and he's going to make it so difficult to kind of move away from as a midfielder. He's just absolutely. I just think there's a point now. He's going to be knocking on the doors of the England side as well, but he's becoming undroppable from that Newcastle side, really. And I mean, we'll possibly see different, but I just think he's so good. He's so good with the ball at his feet. Today he doesn't give the ball away. He's so calm. He's so assured. He looks brilliant defensively as well. He's playing players into areas that they're not able to, to get on top of him. He's getting himself between the goal and the ball to stop the wide players getting into it. He's stopping crosses. There was a point in the second half, I think it was it Pino on the left who was trying to get an angle to cross the ball, and he just blocked off every time. He wasn't diving in. He just allowed him a yard to kind of move the ball. He was reading it and able to block it. I just thought he was excellent and so comfortable on the ball. He's an absolute dream for a manager, I guess, the way he's playing at the moment. Fulham have scored, have they? Brilliant. Oh, that's wonderful news. Love that. It's 2-2. Oh, that's not so wonderful. Never mind. Where are we? So Young Rexy results have gone away from, but this is it. I think we talked about this last week, the week before, where you put a run together, get some consistency in the game, and teams around will take points off each other. Everybody's beating everybody, it seems, at the moment. So there's nobody else really putting a consistent run together to move on. So if you can do that, then it's got to be, it will get Newcastle back into that European contention, definitely. Derek Bruno saves us again.
it's odd, isn't it? Because I think a goal was probably always coming, but it's just Bruno again that gets him into that position. He has kind of carried them on his back a little bit over recent weeks. He's just been excellent. He does look tired at times. He does look leggy, but he puts so much effort into it. He got himself all over the field today, and he was excellent. It'd be kind of hard pressed or difficult not to give kind of him man of the match. I thought he was excellent. So was Malick Thiaw at the back. I thought was really good as well. So I think there's a few options there for you. We've got Matthew. Hi, Mark. Bam, 3 points and a clean sheet. Palace looked tired. They really. I think after that first 15 minutes, they really dropped off, and Newcastle took once they got control of the ball and went, right, we need to calm ourselves here and not get too scrappy. I think Palace were living on those scraps. Both sides in that first 15 minutes of the second half were giving the ball away. Nobody could really get hold of it and create anything of real quality. And it was that moment in about the 60th minute or so that Hall Gordon kind of just sort of created a little bit of quality, a quality opportunity. And from that moment on, Newcastle didn't look back. I think they at that point went, this is now how we have to do this. We have to be a little bit more assured and what to not give away the ball in silly areas. And they went from strength to strength at that point. Palace didn't really stand a chance at that point. Marcus just needs City to crush Chelsea. Well, that definitely keeps Newcastle in the hunt for that fourth and fifth spot if they do that. So that would be. I mean, I should put Manchester City just behind Arsenal as well. Close the gap to them. So that's not a bad thing either, I guess. Ryan, how did Murphy play the entire match? I'm not entirely sure. I did question that. I've got to be honest with you. I thought he was pretty poor today. I don't quite understand how he managed to play the whole of the game. I would have taken him off 20 minutes earlier at the very least, if not in that hour mark as well. But okay, he has done some good things for Newcastle, but today just not at the races at all. Chippers again, a final ball was awful. Yeah, agree. For much of the game, the final ball was just lacking. It's those moments of quality that we're really lacking for an awful lot. An awful lot of that. As Gary puts here, first clean sheet for months. It's I haven't got the stats in front of us to look when the last Premier League clean sheet was. So again, somebody drops that in the comments for me, but it does feel like an awful long time. There's definitely different comments in here about Tonali. I've seen somebody saying Tonali was awful. I'm not thinking he was particularly great today, but he was effective. He was busy and he didn't do anything wrong. You've got Jude here. It says Tonali looks as if he's found his mojo. I thought definitely first half. I thought there were a few moments where he got the ball and was doing those Tonali sort of driving runs forward, which you probably haven't seen an awful lot of. But I don't think it was particularly a good game for him. Scott and here, Wharton would be great for us. I mean, Chris absolutely loves Wharton. I think and I agree to a point. He would be an excellent player in that midfield. But again, if you're bringing in an Aaron Wharton style player, does that take away from Lewis Miley's game time? Because I guess they're going to play in that similar position. And if you still got Bruno, you still got Tonali in the squad and in the side. Are you taking away the game time from Miley? And I'm not entirely sure that would be a good thing. George in the comments, I don't like the phrase game's gone, but that book and Gordon shows why people say it. I must admit, I agree. I think it's a mistake from the referee. I don't think the referee was particularly good today. The fact that he allowed Palace to get away with the time wasting for so long before he actually did anything about it, I thought was ridiculous. You could hear the crowd. I mean, the crowd were going bananas in the first half about the amount of time they were taking over every set play. But yeah, he's just that. The booking's just bizarre, absolutely bizarre. Pooley Mag TV, really good win. That 2 in a row in a month where most of our games are at home. Need to capitalise on it. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Let's have a look through.
Kev, who's winning the Premier League this season? I think it's one of two. I've got to be honest with you. The two Arsenal, Man City. I think for me. James is. I think Barnes is starting to lose a bit of confidence again. I've been messed around by Eddie once again. It's really frustrating for Barnes, I think, because he's been the form player of the wide players, and he's definitely the one that I think can create and score. He's certainly the one that will. He's the best the best striker of a football of those wide players. Definitely, he's the one that will cut in it and put in it. I thought he probably could have done better with one of his opportunities today when he cut in it and unleashed a shot. It was a bit, for him, I'm only seeing ping that in the far corner. It was a bit low, but he's definitely the best finisher of those wide players, and I think he creates more as well. So I think it's frustrating the fact that he is out of the side again, and it seems like this keeps happening to him, and I'm not entirely sure why. Whether it's just a rotation thing or what, but surely we're seeing the same thing that Barnes creates much more than the others. What else have we got in here? So Joey brought him off Timo Willock. I cannot get my head around how he misses the target. Great if he hits it at goal and Henderson gets his foot to it, it'd be an unbelievable save. But the fact that he misses the target, I mean, my head was on the desk. It really was. Just an unbelievable miss. We got a super chat in from WAG CWB0. You think Bruno's numbers are impressive? Imagine if he scored all the 1v1 he creates every single game. Yeah, I think the one he played through, or I guess the two he played through today in the first half, the one for when he's offside, it turns into the goal, but that's disallowed. But the other one as well was a really good opportunity. I think it ends up get a corner out of it, but it's another really good ball. But he's got, like, when he gets into those areas, he plays between the line of midfield and defense. He's able to influence the game so much better from there, and his passing is usually on point. Those weighted through balls are excellent, and the wide players and the forward have to be able to move and recognize what he's wanting to do in those positions. And I guess that's what we really wanted to see from Anthony Elanga, is those balls played through, and him running onto them and either squaring them across to a centre forward to put them in, or put them in himself. And we just not seen that. But I thought he was excellent again today. He really is, and he's been pretty excellent for the last few weeks, hasn't he? And I think it was it four goals in the last seven, Premier League games. I think I put it down as four goals in the last Premier League games, 7 Premier League games of 4. I think the comms said it was 4 in 9, but that's all competition. So he's in a good vein of goal scoring form as well. And that's something that Newcastle need from their players. Is goals from other areas, goals from midfield, because those have been lacking. And I think the others have to start to chip in with more of that too. We saw Joe Linton's goal against Burnley, but I think we've seen more from those three, definitely. George, again, to be fair, I think today was the first time we showed the control we need when in the lead. Absolutely. I think at that point, the control aspect of that came back that wasn't there against Burnley. And I saw the comments about the onslaught from Burnley, and maybe onslaught is a bit of a strong word, but Burnley bossed that game for an awful lot of it. They didn't create anything. They had their opportunities, and I guess if they've got more quality in the centre forward position, it probably would have been different and possibly would have looked like an onslaught. But there's no denying that Burnley had, for a good 40 minutes of really good possession, really good opportunities, and Newcastle really dropped off after the first sort of 10 minutes. Their standards dropped massively and allowed Burnley to take control. So while probably onslaught's the wrong word to have used, I kind of get the premise of it. It's today it was the total opposite. They got the lead. It was difficult. It took long enough for them to get it, but once they got it, it never looked like giving it away. never looked like dropping off the levels. The press was still there. They still hounded the Palace players. They still pushed them into areas they didn't really want to be. They got them to give the ball away on numerous occasions, and that happened throughout the game. But that carried on. They didn't drop. They didn't conserve their energy for 10 minutes after the goal or after the second goal. It was just a continued performance after that. And once they got that, you say it was just control. And it's good to see from them for, to be able to then control and see out a game. I think what Newcastle need to do, what we need to see from them, is when they're getting those leads away from home, is doing the same thing. And that's been a huge difference between Newcastle at home and Newcastle away is that element of control of the game. And they've not been able to do that when they've been away from St James's Park, but they did today. And it was a good win, a really good win. The other thing I forgot to mention as well is that Anthony Gordon has ditched the hairband as well. Obviously, you'll have noticed he's gone with a bobble today, which is an interesting choice. He's got to sort his hair out. I really think he's got to sort his hair out. He does look a little bit ridiculous, but it's probably what maybe if he cuts his hair off, we'll start to see better performances from him. Because but I'm so glad the hairband or bandana or whatever it is he was wearing is gone, because that did look ridiculous. Super chatting from Graham. Thank you very much, mate. Just to start the new year, we wanted so many good performances. Miley, Big Joe were excellent. With players coming back now, again, that's a huge thing. However, let's build on this for January. And could there be some additions in January as well to bolster that squad a little bit more? I know How talked about this in the press conference about them not wanting to do possibly too much in January, because then that takes away from money that's available for the summer. But the odd in from transfers, I guess, particularly if Will Asula does leave the club, if maybe one or other leaves the club, there's the ability to then bring in a couple, maybe use the loan market, which has always been, I think, has been reluctant to do before. I think there are definitely players there that they could target to build on the squad and really build momentum into the second half of the season. But yeah. Thank you again for that super chat. I'm going to rattle through a few more before I finish off. There's lots of comments here about the game at Fulham. Liverpool finishing 2-2. Not a bad result, I guess, in that at all. Attacker number 2, that Welk miss. Yeah, I think we've said all we need to say about that. We really, really do. Chibbers, the old Joe Linton. Yeah, completely agree. J. Kane Kong, Miley, man of the match, 100% for me. Definitely mine. He was Sky's as well, but he was absolutely brilliant today. Again, just really, really good. Stephen, opinion regarding the manager hasn't really changed really, but today was better. Then Palace are bottom half for a reason. Yes, you can only play what's in front of you, but come on, it's the minimum required. It is, like you're right, you can only play what's ahead of you, but Palace are on a bad side. They're in a poor run of form, a little bit like Bournemouth. They started the season really, really well and dropped off massively. But they're not a bad side. They do cause headaches, but I mean, Newcastle have their number at St James's Park, I think, definitely. But it's consistency is the key word, I think, with that, Stephen. I think that we need to now see consistent performances again, and if Thiaw can turn around some of the detracting voices, particularly with those performances away from home, that's the key. The home form has never really been an issue, but away form and away performances have just not been there, and they have to find a way of changing that and pick up more points away from home. You think if some of the games away from home that Newcastle have played over the last couple of months, that you'd be sitting in that top 4 anyway if they hadn't completely dropped the ball against West Ham. I mean, how on earth Newcastle lost against that West Ham side, who were absolutely fucking dreadful against Wolves yesterday? I mean, that's baffling. It really is.
So from Paul, hi Paul, 55 likes and 350 in the chat. Come on, please smash the like button. Yes, please smash that like button. I think we've got over about 250 in the chat at the moment. So yeah, please drop a like on the video. It does really, really help the channel grow. And if you haven't subscribed already, please drop a subscribe on there as well. That'd be really appreciated for the new year for us as well. I'm going to go through another couple of comments, and then I'm going to let you all go and enjoy your Sunday evenings. I'm still working out what day of the week it is after Christmas and New Year. I thought today was Saturday. I've really got confused about it. So it's been one of those moments. I'm back to work tomorrow again, so it should be back to normal. I'll understand what days of the week are again. Big Al with a comment, thought Thiaw was great again today. Yeah, he was excellent. Definitely, you could argue that it was a man of the match performance as well, because I thought he was really, really good. At one point, playing right wing in the second half, he just got himself into that position, took a goal, but defended really, really well as well. And as Ian says there, Thiaw is a bargain this season. Absolute snip. I don't know what Milan fans were watching when they were thankful he was leaving, because he's been absolutely immense. Since he's joined the club, he really has. So yeah, just a real bargain. Let's have a quick look through some of the more recent comments. So apologies, I will have missed a few. So yeah, apologies for that. Yeah, as Kevin says there, a lot of those are little away games as well. Newcastle have been leading. I guess that's the frustrating part of it. That they're doing the job to get themselves ahead, and then just not carrying on and not being able to control the game and take the points, because that ultimately is what you want. I mean, performances aside, you can live with poor performances if you're getting decent results, but they've just not been going hand in hand either. And as Kev says there, actually, Gladstone talk is harm and Palace form. That's probably not a bad shout either, because all the talk about him not signing a new contract and possibly leaving the club, players will start to not switch off from him, but it is definitely an issue for them. I really agree with that. Big G and his drone, boys from Brazil and Stanley. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's probably a good place to leave it, because I think the boys from Brazil and Miley, I guess, that just the ones that were the deciding factor today. Miley, I could talk about for weeks, because I just think he's an absolutely fabulous footballer, and he was excellent again today, even in his other role. Joe Linton was back to what we want to see from Joe Linton. He was at his dominant best today, not in sort of beast mode, but in his abilities in that midfield. And I've been a detractor of him when he's been on the ball. I don't think he's been particularly good on the ball, particularly over the last year or so. But today he got it right. Today he was excellent in that midfield with the other two, and Bruno again was excellent. Just couple more. Vincent, do you see us making any signings in January? I love Ty's response to this. Get your crystal bollocks out of it. We'll have less of that. I'm not getting anything out of anybody in the chat. Thank you very much. It's one of those where I really want to sit on the fence and go, it just depends what deals are there. And I know that's a bit of a cop out. It's easy to say no because of the financial issues that then could carry into the summer. And if you spend too much now, the money's probably there to be able to go and do something. January is notoriously bad for sort of signing players as it is, but there are deals out there. There are players that are available if they're the right price, and if you can pick up particularly a couple of loan deals, the likes of I think there's been talk of Nathan Ake on loan. I don't know how feasible that one is, but that would seem a reasonable loan deal to come in and bolster the squad for the second half of the season, even if it is just a 6 month loan. I've also seen the fact that there've been teams linked to Lionel Messi for a few months. Would anybody take Lionel Messi at Newcastle for a couple of months? Might be a bit pricey in terms of wages, but certainly get some excitement. That's for sure.
And as Graham says here, we need to strengthen if we can this month and offload the dross. I mean, I guess it's up to you who you decide who that dross is, but there are probably one or two that I would suggest probably are worth moving on to be able to get some more funds in to then fund a couple of January signings and get a little bit more quality in, and then attack the second half of the season, because we've seen today a little bit of momentum, and up the Premier League you go. I'll not start singing E-I-E-I-E-I-O. But that's it. If you can get a couple more players in, you can build some more momentum, then it's definitely possible to get into that European mean shout again. And as I say this, that's the wrong one, but antagonized. I'm going to read this out anyway. I think we need to go on for Smith as we've gone in the summit of the cartel. I agree with that completely. I think there are enough big clubs sniffing around him that in the summer he's gone. So if they've got an opportunity to go and get him now, I think Newcastle should go and do that. I do worry that, and I'll caveat that by saying that there's the potential that also harms Malick. I said that about different players. I think Smith obviously can play a little bit further forward, and that could harm his game time. He is in that age bracket as well. But again, if you're building around that, if one or two of the midfielders are to move on, if Willock's to move on, if, as is thought by some, that Tonali may move on in the summer particularly, then that's an ideal signing for the club. And if the opportunity is there now for him, I'd go and do it, because there are some big fish swimming around, and they really don't want to lose out on a player like that, because I think he is an excellent player. And Chris is in the chat. Oh, mate, I hope you enjoyed the game, man. We understand from all your comments over the last week that you were going to the game, so it's nice for you to get involved. Just getting on the train now to head home. Scrappy game, but result was key. G7 and Miley man of the match was absolutely right. Absolutely right. And I think on that note, we will leave it there. If you haven't already as well, while we're talking about Keith Smith, if you want to check out this morning's Rumour Has It video, the transfer video, it is on the channel. It's the one that was, I haven't got it linked into this one, but it is down there in the channel. So go and have a look at that. Please remember to drop a like on the video before you leave. It really does help the channel out. And thank you again for joining us this afternoon for that game. If you haven't already subscribed, this is possibly the third time that I've asked it. If you haven't already subscribed, please drop us a subscribe into the channel as well. Help us get under that 13,000 mark as well. It's unbelievable how much this has grown over the last few months, and we really are grateful. Cannot thank you enough for helping us along the way. But yeah, thank you again. Go and enjoy the rest of your night, everybody. Enjoy the 2-0 win and roll on into the new week. Thank you for joining me, everybody, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Celebrate. They have done it.